Sleep is so important for health and for success in so many ways. In school, out of school. I like to say that success in a day of school actually begins the night before. I'll say it again. Success for a child in school actually begins the night before. Now, how is that? How does sleep help us to stay healthy? There are so many things that happen while we're sleeping inside of our brain. Our brain is processing a lot of memories. So we take all of those long-term memories and we kind of short-term memories, we file those back into the long-term storage. I was talking to my son about a week ago, and talking about the difference between long and short-term memories. And I was asking him, do you remember what you had for lunch yesterday? He's like, yeah, I had whatever it was. But do you remember what you had for lunch like 2 weeks ago? And he couldn't remember. I'm like, well, that's the difference between short-term memory and long-term memory. And what happens in between is that our brain files those memories. It will take the things that we experienced that day, the short term, and it will file it away into the long term if it's pertinent, if it's important. Things like what we ate for lunch 2 weeks ago, not very important. Things that we're learning in school that we really want to hang on to for that midterm or that final will probably be prioritized a little bit more because we're going to put a little more energy into making sure that it's filed correctly and better in the long-term memory, so to speak. A lot of that storage, that memory processing happens when we're sleeping. While we're sleeping also, there's a lot of things that our body does to strengthen our immune system. We have in our bodies a circadian rhythm. And that simply refers to the fact that we're awake for a certain period of time and we're sleeping for a period of time. And that's a cycle, that rhythm happens every 24 hours. And while we're sleeping, our immune system kind of actually revs up in a way. The molecules, they're called cytokines. I might mention that a few times in this presentation. And those cytokines are the molecules in our body that help us respond to a foreign invader and a pathogen or whatever it might be that could get us sick. And really, while we're sleeping, that inflammation actually kind of goes up. And it's strengthening our adaptive immune system, which is the part of our immune system that deals with new things that come our way. Whether it's being exposed to a new virus that's being passed around the classroom, whether that's something else, our body's able to respond to it because of what happened while we were sleeping. Also, while we're sleeping, our body is rested. So our immune system, the energy is not needed elsewhere. We're not moving our bodies. We're not thinking. We're not eating or, things like that. So our body can focus the energy on strengthening our immune system. So sleep is so important. I reflect on my life when I've been a student. I've been a student for a while, throughout K through 12 and college and grad school. And there's been a lot of times when I've noticed that when I sleep less consistently, I'm not able to respond to those immune threats that come my way. I'm not able to stay as healthy. So it's a reminder for me as we approach this cold and flu season, and for everyone else, that we do need sleep. Now, how much sleep do kids need? Different sources will say different things. One resource that I found, I can't exactly remember, it was a journal article, I can't remember exactly who published it, but it says that children ages 6 through 12 should sleep between 9 to 12 hours per 24-hour period. So 9 to 12 hours, if they're going to bed around 8 or 9, getting up at 6 to 8, 6 to 7, going to bed 7 to 6, whatever. Aiming for that is 9 to 12 hours, whatever that means for you and your kids, your family bedtime routine. Teenagers still need a lot of sleep. Just because just because the fertilizer's kicked in doesn't mean that they need less sleep. In fact, they still need a lot. Teenagers, this source says between 13 and 18, so middle school, high school, should sleep 8 to 10 hours per 24-hour period. Now, when I was a high school student, did I sleep 8 to 10 hours a day? I don't think so, because I had homework. I woke up early for early morning choir practices. I stayed late for club meetings and musical rehearsals and so many other things, and I had to fit everything in, not to mention family life, my personal life outside of school, and just being a normal human being and trying to survive life. There's so much in a day, and I think as our students get busier with homework, the main thing that's sacrificed is the sleep. That's really hard. How can we optimize sleep? Number one, by going to bed earlier, as much as we can. That's not always easy, not always straightforward. Also, when we sleep is almost as more important as how much sleep we're getting. The ideal time to be asleep by, for at least adults, or for really anybody, is before about 11 p.m. There's different reasons why that is, but there's a lot of evidence, both anecdotal from my experience and also in literature, different traditions. It says that we need to be asleep by 10:30 ideally. And for kids, that's even earlier. So starting that bedtime routine, always thinking about that, structuring that into our day can really help. Also, when we're helping our kids fall asleep, keeping the room cool, keeping the room dark, all these sleep hygiene is the term that's used. Creating the optimal scenario for sleep. Dimming the lights throughout the house tells the kids' brain, oh, time to go to sleep now, time to go upstairs or go to bed, brush teeth, let's get settled down for the night. That is sleep. That is one of the key foundations of health that I talk about and help patients with as a naturopathic doctor.